Hey, hey. Hey, been a while, hey? Been a while since we spoke. User 575. Kathy, I see you out there. Been a while since we spoke. I think it's because we're talking energy this week, so electricity as well has been playing its energies. Uh, I said it in the WhatsApp group yesterday that unfortunately my schedules tends to coincide with those of load shedding. So that's why I've not been around for some time. But nonetheless, since we're back again, we're still talking energy. We have to understand something very simple while I'm saying hi to the people. Most of the times on this channel, we'll be talking about healing and healing and healing and healing. And a lot of people tend to make a linguistical mistake of only confining it to the physical body. When I speak about healing, I'm speaking about all the aspects that make you. Psychologically, or a lot of philosophers will tell you that we are made of the mind, the body, and the soul. So when I speak about healing, I'm focusing on a holistic healing, not pinpointed healing or the spotlight healing. Because unfortunately, you find some people that don't take care of their bodies, particularly when they're going on this consciousness journey. You find people that only take care of their bodies but don't give a heck about their consciousness. So when I speak about healing, I'm talking about holistic healing. Let me just say hi. Being busy with shadow. Hey, how did you know? Are you talking about me or are you talking about you, Kathy? Which, by the way, is one of the things that on this channel we advocate for. You have to go towards your fears. You have to go towards your pains. You have to do emotional healing in as much as you doing physical healing. So you will know that, hey, Lerato, what does shadow work? Shadow work, Lerato. I don't know how far you with this talks of consciousness, energy work, chakras, third eyes, pineal gland, pituitary gland, awakening, enlightenment. I'm not quite sure where are you, but I'll try to give you just a bit of a blank answer, or a blanket answer. Sorry, not a blank answer. There are parts of you that you've been sweeping under the rug. There are some pains that you've not been paying attention to, and most of them, we pick them up while we're young. These are what we call childhood traumas, which in turn tend to give us what we call defense mechanisms. You will know when you go a little bit deeper in psychology, people will tell you that the people that are normally angry, they are actually scared of something. So there's something that is hiding, and the way how they protect it, they're protected by anger. So what I'm trying to say to you is, shadow work, it's visiting those places to say, all right, fine, I might have turned out to become somebody who's a bit of a narcissist, or somebody who's a bit of an empath, which, by the way, an empathic being, or some people that are empathic generally, these are the people that experienced not so nice childhood upbringing. So in terms of them protecting themselves, they tried to develop some defense mechanisms, which, by the way, they might have been serving them by that time. But when you are old, when you are a wife, when you are a husband, when you are a colleague, when you are a father, when you are a mother, you need to deal with those aspects of you. Most of the times, if you go into psychology, I'm somewhere in the middle. I know quite a bit from some of your teachings. Oh, me! Lerato, that's a compliment. I'm laughing like this because, what we're trying to do here on this platform is to try to drop some few, not to say the truths, but a bit of signposts, because we're going through what we call the energy shift at this moment. You might have realized, I think now it's the second or the third week while I'm speaking of the energies, because there's an energy that has to course through us, but it can't course through us before we heal, before we forgive, before we let go, before we accept. I mean, that's why right now, wherever where you go, you'll hear people talking about meditation, people talking about the yoga, people talking about the forgiveness, people talking about the healing. The whole talk or the whole conversation is about allowing the energy to course properly through your body. Because whenever when you're not healing, or whenever when you're not forgiving, or whatever that you're not letting go, you're actually forming a blockage in your body, which is an energy work that we've been talking about for the last couple of days. And today we're going to be talking about the elements, the fire that is in you, the air that is in you, the water that is in you, the earth that is in you. Because all that we're doing with the energy work is balancing those elements. You will know, let me answer you, Lorato, quickly. Kathy, I see you. It's a blessing from the Most High that we stumbled upon. Kathy, come on. I'm also having my share this side. That's what I normally say to people. Whatever that we talk about here, this is a conversation. It's not really like, I'm sharing pretty much like my experience, because you will know that when you traverse this journey, it's very important for you to have information. I've discovered this thing some time ago, particularly when you're looking into healing, when you're looking into forgiving, when you're looking into making yourself whole or letting go. I find that when you go with it, knowledgeable, you deal with it properly. That is why in a conscious community, you'll often hear that information is energy. The law of thermodynamics says energy follows awareness. So if you are aware of something, you can send your energy properly. That is why I normally tell people that are dealing with the chakra world, particularly the people that will say, no, I want to unblock my chakras, I want to clean my chakras. It's very good for you to acquaint yourself with the ins and outs. You should know the colors. You should know where they're located. You should know should they go clockwise or anti-clockwise, which, by the way, this is an African axiom that goes, know thyself. It's been perpetually said in spiritual texts, in religious texts, that if you want to make progress in your life, if you want to ascend, if you want to transcend, if you want to be enlightened, if you want to be awakened, the kingdom of God is within. So if you want to do that, obviously you need to know yourself. Hey, Black Roots, where have you been? Connection is divine. It's a destiny. Shumani, hello, welcome. I see that you followed the brother. And for the people that are here, this week has been a bit difficult from my side. I think it's because I decided to speak about the energy. And normally what happens is the longer you've been doing the studies, you'll know that every single thing is connected. So load shedding has never been favorable for me this week. It tends to coincide with the times that we normally go live. You'll see that today I abruptly went on at 9 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. Last night at 6 o'clock I couldn't, at 12 o'clock as well, at 2 o'clock as well I couldn't. But what I did is, the episode that I did yesterday, it goes for around about like 40 to 45 minutes. I put it on YouTube. If you want to know my YouTube channel, it's right here on this platform. What you do is you follow the brother. That is, if you haven't already, you go to my homepage. Right there on my bio, there's my number. Then underneath, it's a YouTube channel. Please be warned that they are as raw as they are, unedited as they are. Don't check out how I'm saying it. Listen to what I'm saying. It's that thing of don't shoot the messenger. Get your message. So, Lerato, when you do the shadow work, it's all about touching those wounds that are in you. It's all about breaking your old you apart so that you can make space for the new you. It's all about understanding that life, it's not only about hate. It's not only about anger. Life can also be about love, be about joy. The reason why I'm starting on the emotional side, I find that these days, whenever when you love, or whenever when you forgive, whenever when you are compassionate, people tend to call you stupid. I know that there's been pains that you've went through because you've been forgiving over and over and over and over and over. But I'm here to tell you that please don't stop it. I'm reminded of the words of Socrates when he said, be careful that when you're fighting a stranger, you don't become a stranger yourself. Be careful that when you are engaging with a world that looks impersonal, the world that looks void of emotions, don't become bad because the world seems bad. Don't do that. Because when you do that, you are actually contributing to the pain that we are already seeing. But over and above that, when you're engaging in hateful situations, you're blocking the energies. When you're engaging in an argument, you're blocking and zapping the energies. You and I know that when we fight or when we have an argument, we actually burn ourselves out. That's what we're talking about today. Elements. In you, you have fire elements. In you, you have air elements. In you, you have water elements. In you, you have earth element. I can even go as far as saying that everything that is on the face of the earth has those elements accordingly packed and stacked. You will know that, or you probably have heard people saying that each and every single thing is in a state of perpetual motion. Everything is vibrating. At any given time, it might look still, but everything is in a perpetual state of movement. And somehow, all these elements that I mentioned, they are stacked in a way that the energy is able to course through your body. Now, I said when I started, and I want you guys to hear me very clearly over here. Profoundly said, thank you, Kathy, but where are the likes? You guys are profoundly stingy by double tapping the screen. But nonetheless, welcome. I almost lost my true self because I realized that nobody... You know, Kathy, before I get to this preface that I'm going to put, this thing that you said, it's so profound. It's so huge. In actual fact, I should stop talking right now because somehow we have outsourced things that are inherently ours. Instead of loving ourselves, we expect other people to love us. Instead of wholly accepting ourselves, we expect other people to accept us. It's so sad that people don't know that happiness doesn't come from a shoe. Happiness doesn't come from an extra car. Happiness is not supposed to come from your payday. These are things that you have. Because we're speaking about energy today, I can go as far as saying you can heal yourself even. And this is not a taboo. This is not something that I'm thumb-sucking. This is scientific. If you handle your internal environment, if you ensure that your internal environment is balanced, it's in harmony, sickness will never be part of your life. However, if your internal environment is discordant, it's not singing in harmony, it's not symbiotic, your body is going to break apart. So the person that you've been looking for, the information that you've been looking for, the healing that you've been looking for, the love that you've been looking for, it's not anywhere else, but it's in you. Religious texts, spiritual texts, ancient texts, wherever way you read, when you go deeper in knowing yourself, you are what you've been waiting for. If you want happiness, you don't need to lift a finger. You work on yourself mentally. Because I just want to fuse this with the preface. When you're healing yourself holistically. Mind, body, and soul. You're healing yourself mindfully, bodily, and your soul. The mind, some people tend to, I know Abraham Maslow refers to the mind mostly as the spirit. I've spoken at length about this thing at some part of the videos that I did, particularly with the people that are in a conscious community, or if you've studied these things of the soul. By the way, there's a study that you can, if you're into these things of the souls, there's a beautiful study. It's called eschatology. Eschatology is that scientific area that investigates where does the soul go when you die. So these things are not taboos. These things are scientifical. Some people call it quantum physics. Some people call it string theory. Conscious community calls it awareness, such and such. So it has different names. So if you want to know more about those things, check out the eschatology. You will know where does the soul go. But if you want to get much more in depth with this thing, I'll urge you to study a little bit of Hinduism and Buddhism. It will take you a little bit there. That makes sense because you are the way. It makes sense, right? I like that. I like that, Kathy, because a lot of people, in as much as the soul gets used interchangeably as the spirit, I need to make you guys aware that these things are not the same. You'll hear that people will say to you, spirits are roaming around, or when people exercise, especially in a Roman Catholic spectrum, when people do exorcism, they don't exercise the soul, they exercise the spirit. If you don't know much about this, I don't want to do too much of an injustice to this topic because it's a very well versed and very well depth topic. I might have skimmed through it. I know for the people that have studied too much, they might have said, oh, no, that is wrong. But so I don't want to do too much of an injustice to it because today we're talking mostly about the energies. I want us to talk about the masculine energies and the feminine energies. But if you're interested in those talks, if you're in a WhatsApp group, please let me know if you're in the WhatsApp group so that we can share those books about the eschatology, about the soul. That is if you're there already. But if you're not there or you want to be there, it's the same thing. Send me a WhatsApp. My numbers are right here on the bio. And by the way, if you're not part of the WhatsApp group, because I see that some of the people just quite recently followed the brother, I say welcome to all of you guys. If you want to be part of the WhatsApp group /book club, send me the number there or send me the text. What do they call it? DM. DM me right there, then I'll put you in a WhatsApp group. I'll also send you some of the books that we've shared so far. And if I didn't say hi to anybody that stepped in while I was ranting and waxing my lyrical, I say hello. If you're wondering what is it that we're talking about here, we're talking about pretty much everything. But today, we're talking about the energy work. Enough with my ranting. My preface is clear, right? When you heal yourself wholly. Your mind, your physical body, and your soul. Now, energy, when it courses through our bodies, it does so through the law of polarity. The law of polarity postulates for the left, there has to be a right hand. For the left leg, there has to be a right leg. For the negative, there has to be a positive. Electricity works exactly the same way. In actual fact, I'll go in as far as saying that thermodynamics borrowed a lot from that law of polarity. Because they pretty much, if you look at them, they go towards saying the same thing. For the black, there has to be a white. For the high, there has to be a low. If you are well versed into, or if you a student of consciousness, you will know that is called the principle of duality. We're living in a third dimension, as they say it. You know, these quantum physicians, whenever when they talk about things, they make it sound so difficult. But all that it is we're living in a world that is observable by 5 senses. For the body to exist, it has to be in a third dimension. For this cup, for it to be perceptible by the five senses, it has to be in a third dimension. You might have heard people talking about the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension. Those are much more subtler side of our existence. Some people might have spoken about the astral dimensions. Some people might have talked about the lucid dreaming. Some people might have spoken about the ether, the akash. Some people might have spoken. So now there's a whole lot amount of taboo and the language on these things. But today I want us to streamline it to the polarity, the duality. Now it gets to be a little bit interesting because I'm going to talk about gender here when we speak about the law of polarity. But when I say gender, I don't necessarily mean it in a physical sense. I don't necessarily mean it in a reproductive organ way. I don't necessarily mean it in a sense of saying a woman and a man. But I mean it in a sense of when the energy courses through your body, it does so in a polarity way. Masculine and feminine. They kept us in the third dimension. Kathy, just not to digress quickly, but I want to talk about that. All of us, we have an underlying story. It's either you think the world, it's a jail, or it's an entrapment, or you think that the world or the third dimension, it's a school, it's a university, it's a game that is infinite, meaning it's a game that necessarily doesn't have an ending. But if you thinking that the world, it's a game of jail, it's a game of shacks, you are actually making it a finite game. If you want to hear more about this, there's a wonderful book by Simon Sinek. It's called The Finite and the Infinite Game. Basically, it shows you that in our lives, all of us, we are driven by an underlying story. If you think that the world is out to punish you, you'll mostly call this world jail. You'll call it an entrapment. But if you think that the world is out to teach you something, you will call it education, you will call it a school, you will call it university. Now, that might sound a little bit like, okay, what the heck does it have to do? Your perception towards the world also directs your energy, contributes to the quality of your energy. Because if you're thinking that the world is out to get you, you are always in a perpetual state of fighting. You are always defending yourself wherever way you go. If people cut across you in traffic, instead of being empathetic, you start yelling. If maybe perhaps your partner tries to bring something to your attention, there you are, you think it's an argument. So perpetually you're always in a state of fighting. And when you do that, not to say there's anything wrong with that, because you have to understand something, especially if Lerato is here, because you were asking about what is shadow work. Some people developed defense mechanisms because they were hurt a lot in their lives. As a result, your world was painted as a horrible place. So, in general, you think that the world is out to get you. Which, in a way, it's not a bad thing, because remember, if you've been hurt a lot in the past, it's only fair that your body tries to protect itself. Because no one enjoys pain. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning like, okay, today I want to get hurt. No. So that's a job of your brain. That's a job of your body. That's a job of your emotions. That's why when people have been hurt a lot in relationships, they form walls. But now you don't understand that those walls that you form, yeah, they might protect you from pain, but they're also stopping love from coming in. I realized that almost too late. Luckily, the inner child of me kept... That hits here. Hey, Entle. And for anybody else or everybody else that is here, do belong. If you guys are here and you're wondering what is it that we're talking about energy. emotions, energy in motion. But you found us now talking about the yin and the yang, the masculine and feminine parts of the energy. Let's break it down. Let's start with the body first. Come on, every time when I see you, you know your body, your name. Your name every time when I see you gives me kicks, eh? Because I like the meaning of it. It reminds me of the law of cause and effect. Whatever that you do to others, it's going to come happen to you. It's a parable of Jesus Christ when he said, as you sow, so shall you reap. So karma, it's not really punishment. Karma, it's your fruits. If you've planted beautiful fruits, you're not going to complain. If you planted bad fruits, well, you go tell it. An organ in your body, if it works well, you don't know about it. But if your pancreas breaks down, you will know about it. So things that are working well, people don't complain about. Beautiful things, people don't complain about. People tend to complain about things that are not good as a result of energy imbalance, which, by the way, we're talking about today, but we're starting with the body. Lorado, I see you. It's not just the name, it's the energy I bring with me. Yeah! Okay, let me calm down. All right. The reason why I'm so excited, you guys might have realized that for this week, it's been a horrible thing for me to come on live because whenever when I want to speak, load shedding. Whenever when I want to share, load shedding. I think it's because we're talking about energy. So there's a bit of, in quantum physics, they call it destructive interference. Whenever when the energy meets, it's destructive. But right now, I'm riding a wave of what they call it, the wave of possibilities. This is when you are on constructive interference. This is when now you're riding up with the waves, which is something that you can do, by the way, and you do every day. Whenever when you're having a beautiful day, you're riding on a constructive wave. Whenever when you're having a lovely day, actually, the beautiful days tend to be short. Bad days tend to be long. Energy. It's all about energy. Thank you, Karma, for blessing us with your presence. And I see that there's 18 of us here. If you're here for the first time, follow the brother. If you understand what we're talking about, follow the brother. If you don't understand what we're talking about, follow the brother nonetheless. If you still have some likes in your bag, please double tap your screen because it helps us with the algorithm a whole lot. If you got some giftings that you'd like to contribute to what the channel, please do so as well. If you want to share the platform, if you want to comment, if you want to ask a question, we're going to be talking about how the energy affects our bodies. Obviously, we're going to talk about food. We know that some people they'll say there are wrong foods and there are right food. But today we're going to break it down to say there are masculine food and there are feminine food. And we need to strike the balance. This might become a little bit helpful also to the people that want to lose the weight, to the people that want to heal themselves. If you know how to run or to play with your energies, boop, there goes your healing. Hey, Mashiach, it's a beautiful day today. Hey, we've been blessed. I see that there's 16 of us, and thank you very much for joining us, guys. This week has been a bit of a hustle, load shedding wise. So if you hear me ranting and running my mouth a lot, it's because I'm happy for this opportunity. I've been trying to go on, I've been off. Go on, I've been off. Go on and be off. It's been a while, eh? It's been a minute, they say. So, how does your body process or manage the energy? That is your physical body, you and I. Your body has an inbuilt technology that is called homeostasis. Some people or the dietitians or the nutritionists, I know they call it a circadian rhythm. This is a system of your body that makes sure that you don't have too little of something, you don't have too much of something, but you have a balance of both elements, yin and a yang, positive and negative, masculine and feminine, electro and magnetic. I spoke about For the people that are here now for the first time, just in case you're wondering, oh, when did we get here? We've been speaking about the energy now for the last 3 weeks. Some week we were talking about the meridians. Some week we were talking about the nadis. Some weeks we were talking about the chakras. These are nothing but the energy concentration points in your body. We have 72,000 nadis. We have 12 main meridians. We have 7 main bodily chakras. So now, these are not particularly things that you can touch with your hands, but these are the things that you regulate with your internal environment. Your thoughts, your emotions, your hormones. Remember, we did 2 days when we were talking about the hormones, the dopamine, the oxytocins, the adrenaline, the this and that and that. But these things, the chakras, your energy bodies, your energy pathways are regulated mostly by your thoughts, which regulates your internal environment. Now, when it comes to our bodies, we have feminine energy, which is represented by water and by earth. And in our bodies we have masculine energy, which is represented by fire and by wind. Let me say that again. In our bodies, because we are electromagnetic beings, we have masculine and feminine energies. We have the yin and we have the yang. We have to at all times seek the balance. If you have too much of the fire element in you, food-wise, if you're having too much sugary stuff, if you're having too much salty stuff, if you're having too much spicy stuff, your body, it's going to give you acid reflux, gag reflex. It's going to give you intestine uncomfortability. It's going to give you that acid thing that normally goes here. Remember, when you're eating too much salty food, when you're eating too much fiery food, you are introducing too much fire in your body. As a result, fire burns. Fire dries you out. Genetically modified food, they contain too much fire element. Fire dries you up. Fire causes constipation. The body that is too dried up has an inability to let go of the waste, causing constipation. Why do you think when you are constipated, people will say to you, drink water? When you drink water, you are introducing a feminine energy in your body. You are introducing the moist in your body. So that's how it affects you food-wise. I mean, like this morning, I was reading about the eczema, or what do they call it? Acne, where your skin somehow develops uncomfortable pores, and sometimes they sip out something and they dry out, they tend to make those dark spots. That condition, it's because you have too much fire food in your body. There are ways, by the way, that you can cleanse yourself, which I've been talking about for the longest of time, that if you find that you can't get your hands to healthy food, fast. If your job is way too demanding and you can't get your hands to healthy food, instead of taking up something that is boxed, instead of going for chips and hamburgers or pizzas, have a fruit. Or have a fruit, sorry. A fruit, that's a nice word. I mean, I came about with that. I should actually put it up in my dictionary. By the way, let me just pause a little bit. It's a balancing hormone in a simple term. Yeah, Mashiach, you got it spot on. And if you guys are here for the first time, or if you here, you know that you've been a family of us for the longest of time. And for the people that have been gifting, I thank you very much. And for the people that have been liking and sharing and commenting on a page, I say thank you. And for the people that have been doing the shadow work, the people that are currently being electrocuted, because one of the things as well that you need to realize, which is what we're going to talk about next, when you're doing the shadow work, there are places that are going to be very uncomfortable. There are places that are going to be very painful. Please be mindful that you need to bear it out. I know healing yourself hurts. Fasting is not easy. Avoiding some food that you are addicted to, it's not easy. But it's a necessary thing that you have to do because you have to introduce balance in your body. Hypertension, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, constipation, insomnia, infertility, dementia, Alzheimer's, all modern diseases are as a result of the energy that is not balanced. Let me show you how smart your body is. Have you realized that when you don't feel well, your body stops eating? Automatically. When you don't feel well, if you want to know if somebody's really, really sick, look at their appetite. Immediately when you're sick, you lose your appetite. Why? Because your body uses the energy that you have to heal instead of digesting, because eating as well takes a lot of energy, in case you didn't know that. In a religious text, in spiritual texts, in ancient texts, if there is one thing that all these religions agree on, fasting. Because when you fast, you tend to use the energy that otherwise would have been used to balance the energies, because most of us these days we're eating wrong food. So when you're hitting your body with wrong food, the energy tends to become destabilized, and once your energy becomes destabilized, you are now pushed into disease. And unfortunately, we have made a mistake, and we're still making it today. We think that if we're suffering from constipation, we will solve it by taking laxatives. It doesn't work like that. It can help you momentarily. We think that when we have a headache, it can be solved by Disprin or Grandpa. Yeah, it can do it, but it can only do it momentarily. If you want to deal with your true issue that is bothering you, go deep inside, do the energy work. Now that we're done with the body, let's kick it up the notch. And I have to say this quickly before I jump off from the body. There are numerous ways on how you can use, or on how you can actually balance the elements in you. Remember, I said to you that feminine elements, feminine elements, that is, the elements that are soothing to you, these are represented by water and by earth. And if you've probably visited a doctor lately, if you're having a bit of a health problem, the doctor might have told you, that is if the doctor that cares about you, might have told you, try eating fruits and veggies. Why? Please elaborate on what shadow work. Yeah, I'm still getting, I'm going to get to it. And for the people, come on. I can offend like Selin. What have I done to you guys? I know that this week has been hard for me. I've not been able to get on. And every time when I want to hop on, load shedding. Every time when I want to hop on, it's load shedding. So I've missed you guys. And I hope you miss me too. And come, I see that you're busy liking up the life. And Claire, by the way, let me just say this quickly. As you challenging your body, as you engaging in acts of fasting, engaging in acts of eating well. That, by the way, contributes towards the shadow work. Let me show you how. Your ego, that is your animalistic self, thrives on addictions. So whenever when you deny yourself something that your flesh wants to do, you are already doing the shadow work. That's exactly what is spoken about in the religious text when it said that, I think it was Paul, he said, be careful of the carnal self. Carnal self is your body. So whenever when you challenge your body, because we're going to be talking about the thinking now. Remember we spoke about balancing your energies bodily wise by eating well. So whenever when you're eating fruits and veggies, you are gravitating towards introducing the moist in your life. And you will know that whenever when you're eating something that is feminine wise, feminine food, it's the food that contains water. It's the food that contains a whole lot amount of earth, because feminine energy is water and earth. Masculine energy is fire and air. It will make sense now because we're going to be talking about your thoughts. Because by the way, your thoughts as well can either be feminine or masculine. So, let me just, you should move. We haven't had load shedding for us. Where are you? I need to come there. Where are you? By the way, speaking about where are you, we're having a retreat on the 25th and the 26th. That is next week. For the people that are coming through, we're going to have a blast. We'll try to document some of it and show you guys how to pan out. It's the first one from our side. We're planning into rotating from time to time. Maybe the next one is going to go straight to Joburg. Maybe it might go to Eastern Cape. Maybe it might go to Cape Town. What we're trying to do is we're trying to form some concentration points. When I say we, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about us, the family that is here, because we need to understand that in as much as hate can be popular, love can be popular as well. But people have to do it. That's why we're all here. And we all know how unpopular love is these days. We all know how popular unforgiveness is these days. We all know how popular fear is these days. People are scared. People are angry. People are depressed. People are losing their jobs. People are divorcing. People are killing themselves. People are suffering from anxiety attacks. And this is coupled by the age that we're going through right now. Because the age that we're going through, people, if you haven't picked it up, there's an energy shift that we're going towards. If you haven't realized it, then maybe this is the wrong channel for you. But if you have, go help others. Because the whole job of everybody else that does this, you can either find it on YouTube, it's either you doing it yourself, it's either you know somebody that does it. It's all about fluidity of the energy. A lot of us are stuck. And if you're stuck, it's like suffering from constipation. Constipation on your body, it's when you can't take care of the shit or take out the gunk. Constipation on your mental level, it's when you can't let go. Because if you can't let go, you find it easy to forgive. But people that are letting go, people that are accepting, people that have feminine fluidity in them are flowing. And they find it easy to forgive. And when you don't flow mentally, you're creating an energy block. Insomnia is one of them. Negative thought is one of them. Overthinking is one of them. Remember, if the energy is not properly balanced in your body becomes sick. If your energies are not properly balanced in your mind, you tend to form, in psychology, you tend to form neurosis, areas of conflict, wrong beliefs, victim perception, victim mentality. Those energies needs to be balanced in our mental world as well. Because whenever when you heal yourself, you can't heal one body and leave the other. You are the mind, body and soul. We don't have to speak of those negative lines if we don't want to attract them. Hey, Gina, I see you that you here. You know, Mr. Mwegeti, speaking of that, because now we've moved from the body, we're going to be talking about the energies on your mental realm. I did say that we have elements in our bodies. We have feminine aspect, then we have masculine aspect. Neuroscience will tell you that you have the left-hand brain and you have the right-hand brain. Now these elements that courses through all of us, we have the water, we have the earth, we have the air, and we have the fire. Now the fire and the air, these are masculine elements. The water and the earth, these are feminine elements. The people that tend to overthink, they are too much engaged in the fire elements. And we all know that overthinkers are normally prone to burnout. This, you normally see it a lot in company executives. These are the people that are deadline driven. These are the people that are coming up with beautiful ideas. But when they get to it, or wherever when they get to it, sometimes they tend to break down. Never's breakdown is because of too much fire elements. This is where you find that the movements or the exercises such as meditation, which introduces stillness in your body. Because remember, for this to make sense for you, you have to have a little bit of a background of neuroscience, which is what we've been talking about on previous episodes. And if you didn't catch that, you would have known that your left-hand brain represents your male side of energy. Your right-hand brain represents your female side of energy. This is where the moist is. This is where the water is. This is where the earth is. This is where the air is. This is where the fire is. Too much of this burns you out. Too much of the fire dries you out. Too much of the fire gives you depression. Too much of the fire gives you infertility. Too much of the fire gives you insomnia. Too much of the fire gives you ulcers. Too much of the fire gives you impotence. Now, before I get to the other side, you overthink. You more of, What you need to do, Mr. Mweketsi, right there, it's the following. And I mean, I'm not... I think I have 10 minutes left. So let's make this 10 minutes count, right? So what I'm going to do is, if obviously I get to be able to hop on at 12, at 2, I'll try to, but if I can't, I think we've pretty much covered the best of what we wanted to talk about. Nikiro! As you can see, it's busy jumping. I don't know if whether perhaps are we having load shedding, but if we are, I'm going to try to take this as well and put it on YouTube. Don't mind the aesthetics. Listen to what I'm saying or what I'm not saying. Don't kill the messenger, get the message. Yeah, no, Mr. Mweketsi, Linda didn't continue. I stopped deliberately. So, Mr. Mweketsi, this is what you need to do. Ne? I find that when you struggle, particularly with ruminating is an excessive thought. This is when you are too much in a beta brain wave. You know, neuroscientifically, we have 5 brain waves. You got delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma. So now, when you are too much into a beta brain, Nikita, see that you actually making it count. And I like that. Thank you very much. And for you guys, that have been given the likes, giftings. Oh, Nikita, you're breaking it apart. And for the people that have gifted, for the people that have done so in the past, the people that have supported the channel, the people that have been sending beautiful intentions, the people that have been sending up the love, the people that have been sending messages of encouragement, the people that have shown up interest in the camping, the people that have been assisting us, the people that have taken upon themselves to love instead of to hate, the people that have decided instead of arguing, I'll be compassionate, the people that have decided instead of hoarding, I will give, the people that have decided instead of criticizing, I'll support, instead of breaking apart, I'll build, the people that have decided instead of breaking things apart, let's build things apart. Even if you're not on this platform, somehow I know that we are cosmically connected through the universal Wi-Fi, they call it. If you're one of those, if you aspire to do that, if you want to awaken, if you want to enlighten, if you want to do whatever, let's spread the good energies, man. We're enough with this fiery energies. Let's spread the feminine energies. Let's spread the love. Let's spread the love for no reason. Back to your question. Sorry, I just got a bit overtaken right there. Wendy! All that I'm saying is, let's heal. That's the long and short of it, if you didn't get it. And when I say heal, you have to heal mind, body, and soul. It's very well to eat green. You need to do that. Because when you're eating green, you're introducing the fire elements. When you're eating green, you're introducing the water elements, the feminine energy, the moon energy, the creative energy. But if you're eating too much salty stuff, too much fiery stuff, too much spicy stuff, you're going to burn your gastrointestinal tract. You're going to disturb your microbiota. You're going to disturb your stomach lining. You're going to have acid refluxes. You're going to have ulcers. You're going to have asthmas. You're going to have diabetics. You're going to have this and that and that. So it's good to eat well. But while you eat that, it's also good to think well. So if you find yourself ruminating, overthinking, what you need to do is, try to introduce feminine aspects in your energy, because people that overthink a lot, it's a good thing though. It's not a bad thing, because I mean a lot of executives, they thrive because of that, but unfortunately they burn out. I know this is pertinent as well to a lot of celebrities. Because when you perform, when your job is too demanding, you tend to expend a lot of, you at most of the times expected to think, because you're getting paid to think. So too much thinking as well is dangerous. You need to know how to control it. But if you want to control it, one of the things, or some of the things that you need to do is, I don't know, you've heard of this thing of being quiet. Some people call it meditation. Because by the way, if you haven't realized, I know it might sound like a cheap idea, but when I realized that, I laughed so hard. Meditation, amongst other things, it's an exercise that keeps you quiet. And remember, let me just see. 2016. Hey, Mr. Mwegeti, when I clear you right there. You're going to understand this that I'm going to say. And for the people that are also struggling up with overthinking, this might become a little bit ideal to you. The act of keeping quiet, automatically it's going to push you to go inside. Because if you don't talk a lot, what's going to happen is automatically you're going to go inside. What does it mean? You're going to now start listening to your thoughts. This is what we call sub-vocal conversation, self-talk. Now, mostly you'll find that a lot of people that ruminate a lot, or the people that ruminate a lot, are the people that are struggling with acceptance, are the people that are struggling with letting go. Why? Remember I said feminine energy or feminine elements are water and the earth. What does water do? Fluidity. 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 What's fluidity in your body? When you're passing stools without effort, that is called being regular. You are fluid on your body. But thought-wise or mind-wise, whenever when you let go, whenever when you accept, whenever when you forgive, you are introducing the feminine energy in your brain. You will find that overthinking, or a lot of overthinkers will tell you that they don't mind thinking one thought for 6 hours. No, not Kathy, not that type of quiet. Let me see how much time I have, because now it's like I open up a can of worms. And I like where this conversation is going, by the way. Let me just see, maybe perhaps if I can get an alternate form of connection. Maybe I can keep it going a little bit further. Listen, Kathy, when I say quiet, I like this. The act of being quiet introduces you to your internal conversation, which is self-talk, which is your thoughts. The more you watch your thoughts, you will realize that you struggle a lot on thoughts that are a little bit painful. As a result, your brain neuroscientifically holds on to them. So when your brain holds on, it uses too much energy. Now, the act of letting go, the reason why it's painful, it's because you have to introduce other elements that are in you, letting go. And now once you introduce letting go, it's like putting Lagza. Remember when you put Lagza in your stomach, your stools come out quickly. But now when you learning to accept, when you reading these things of positivity, I normally look at people and I laugh at them when they say, this thing of positive thinking is just a waste of time. Listen here. I don't have a problem with anybody that wants to think negative, but I need to tell you this. Every time when you are harboring negativity, you are killing yourself in installments. Where the energy goes, it grows. The law of thermodynamics. Wherever where the energy flows, wherever where the awareness goes, the energy follows, or the energy flows. Wherever where the energy goes, that tends to grow. Whenever when you always hammering on something, even if it's a justified resentment, because I know a lot of internal dramas or a lot of internal pains that we have, it's because of the so-called justified resentments. But Barnabas, I want to tell you this. Let it go. I know it sounds very unorthodox and it sounds so unreasonable. You're going to be like, oh no, I can't. Let it go. Most of the people that are into the scientific world or the weather's very nice. Cool. Is it back? I don't like negative things. It blocks love, and I like that. So being a chatterbox makes it excuse. The way how you just said it, yay, Mr. Mwege, it's my word. I think I'm in this life for the third time though. Never stayed long, but I always. Is it? Thank you very much, Zandi. The reason why I'm actually extending it, it's because, unfortunately, this week I've been having a whole lot amount of bit of energy issues in terms of load shedding. I think particularly it's because we're talking about energy work this week. Look at that. So let me get to this thing of ruminating. Overthinkers tend to be prone to anxiety. Overthinkers tend to be prone to depression. Overthinkers tend to suffer from cognitive dissonance. You know what causes that? If you overthink, it means you are unable to let go. You being unable to let go represents fiery elements because you dried up. You have too much masculine energies in your body. So now you slowly have to introduce femininity. By the way, I think this will sound palpable to you. We all know that love is feminine. We all know that forgiveness is feminine. We all know that joy is feminine. Why do you think that women find it easy to forgive? Biologically, today, a man can cheat, the relationship can still go on. A woman does the same thing, the relationship will be... The reason being, nature created us that way. But we need to know ourselves. By the way, all of us, we have a little bit of both. The clue has been left in our heads. You have male and feminine in your head. Electromagnetic, male, magnetic, feminine. The problem is, if you're suffering from overthinking, people think if you push it back, you're dealing with it. People think worrying about the problem, it's solving it. Psychologically, that problem goes as follows. Whatever that you resist, you persist. Whatever that you push back, you invite. Whatever that you fight, you make it grow. Where the attention goes, energy flows. Whatever that you think about most of the times becomes your reality. We are the creators of our lives. So overthinkers, best thing, watch your thoughts. Don't try to stop them. Flow with it. Embrace it. Love your pain. Heal your wound. Forgive. Love. Let go. I know it sounds way out, particularly given the level of a pain, but I can tell you right now, it's like what Dr. Wayne Dyer once said when I used to listen to him a lot. There's an audio tape that I used to play all the time, Power of Intention. He says there, I think it's on episode 6, he says there are no justified resentments. Now, don't make a mistake of thinking that I say to you, start now dropping everything and letting them go. Pain don't work that way. When the pain comes to you, you have to go to it respectfully. Because your pain carries your healing. We're living in a world of duality. Left, right. Positive, negative. Up, down. Pain, healing. Joy, sadness. Mercy, severity. On, off. So when you're going through the dark period of your life, that's why they call it the dark night of the soul. Remember, when you're dealing with your body, we call it health. But when you're dealing with this, we're talking about dealing with the subconscious mind, that which is underneath, under. And there, obviously, there are rules. What you just explained, there's a key to create my kind of, you got to, and your pain was to be part of the building. Now, this is where now it gets a bit tricky. Anger, when it comes to you, which is one of the things that I know that all of us have had a brush with it. If you haven't, you lucky bastard. But when it comes to anger, it's either we produce it or it gets produced upon us. It's one of the emotions that are terribly notorious and very famous. And we don't understand that anger, it's a It has drying element. It has fiery element. It is of a muscular nature, because if you've been engaged in an anger altercation or angry altercation, just after that, a lot of people will tell you, I feel so tired. You know why? Because your body has to use too much energy. So you dried yourself up. You introduced a lot of heat in your body, fire elements. So how to quench that? Feminine elements. Water, earth, heal, flow. Because when you're stuck, I mean, let's make this analogy. If take what's good and burn the rest, and you're paid. You know what you're saying there, Keith, you take what is good and burn the rest. I also want to say to the channel, or to the people that are listening to this, because some of the people are going to catch it on YouTube. When you're listening to somebody, particularly when it comes to you healing yourself, a lot of people, when they speak, they'll be speaking from their personal experiences. Meditation might work for some, but might not work for some. That I need to say. Yoga might work for some, but might not work for some. Sun exposure might work for some, but might not work for some. What I'm trying to say is, because we are distinguishedly different, all of us, our psychological structure is not the same. So I would be very wrong sitting from where I am to say, I know that this works absolutely. Because you'll find that some of the people have too much fire elements. Personality-wise, some people call them narcissists. I think you know them. You know those, right? So this is what I decided to do. I'm going to be extending this for the next 30 minutes. Let's make it count for the people that are still here. I hope it's not too much of an ask. I'm trying to do this to try to cover as much as I can, so that when I put it on YouTube, in case I don't happen to be able to come on at 2 o'clock, I would have had some covered, because I want to move on now. I want us to talk about, remember I said we are mind, body, and soul. We've spoken at length about the body. We're now busy talking about the mind. We're going to be talking about the soul. So I want to move there. And if you've been following this channel, unfortunately, if you just jumped on now, you'll have to patch up some of the few things. But if you don't understand some of the concepts, I really, really urge you to either, you know where my numbers are. It's either you send me a WhatsApp, or you can paste your comments or your questions right here. Or we have a WhatsApp group /book club /family. If you want to be part of it, let me know. We're having the retreat Friday and Saturday and Sunday. This come the 25th and the 26th. Done. Everything done. We're just sorting out some of the few logistics. It's a first one for us, obviously. And it's going to be a beautiful experience. We're trying to, when I say we, all of us, we're trying to make love part of our day-to-day lives, understanding part of our day-to-day lives, compassion part of our day-to-day lives, understanding part of our day-to-day lives. We're trying to introduce the fluidity. That's why I normally tell people that are on this channel that the candle never loses the light by lighting the others. Once you get the light or one word or one energy from this platform or any other platform or from the book, go tell others. The world is hungry for fluidity. We are stuck. We're living in a patriarchal society. We are high and dry. Now, I just spoke about the Yin and Yang on a cosmic view. This is what psychoanalysts will tell you. They call them archetypes, thought patterns. We're dealing with hate right now, not necessarily coming from one person, but from the collective hate creation. It's a very big subject. It can go anywhere, anytime. It can go dark very, very quickly. I mean, what would you say if I was to tell you that each and every single town that we're living in has the spirit that deals with it? The spirit that is generated by the thought form or the thought patterns of the people that stay in that area. In as much as your body has chakras, the earth has chakras as well. They are called ley lines or energy grids. You're talking about me. They find narcissists and people say, what about narcissists? Okay, yeah, thank you for reminding me, guys. You know me, I'll just touch this and out. Off the brother goes. My coffee is actually getting cold. Yappity yak. Now back to this thing then. Narcissistic people are known as people that don't feel deeply. Not entirely. Because this thing of saying people don't have emotions or don't have feelings, it's nothing but just a BS. Everybody feels. Empaths are people that don't have a very strong connection to their limbic brain. There's a very thin line between these two personalities, narcissists and empaths. Narcissists are people that are much more left brain dominated. A bit of neuroscience says left brain processes words, processes logic, processes survival instincts. Right-hand brain, it's a feminine brain, hence it's called female brain. It has emotions. And we all know, you know that. If, for the guys, if you were to be compared with your counterpart, or if you were to be compared with your sister, and you know who has much more tolerance. That is why you find in an animal or human kingdom, women are tasked with raising the young. Why? Nature didn't make a mistake there. Because raising a young, it's a very clumsy process. I mean, why do you think fathers can't raise the young? Not to say they can't, but naturally, the way how it's designed. Because a woman has a compassion, has forgiveness, has joy, has fluidity, has the water, has the element, has the flowing, has the forgiveness, has that thing. That is all about creation. By the way, where did all of us come from? You. From a woman. So when you are entertaining things that are subtle, things that are quiet, things that are compassionate, you are balancing the bodily energy, you are balancing your mental energy, you are also balancing your psyche. So that's a question that goes as far as the overthinkers, Mr. Moikitsi, right? You can take on the meditation exercises. The other thing that you need to look at, particularly if you're an overthinker, and if I didn't get to deal with some of the questions, or I touch there and I stop there, paste it here if you want us to talk about it. By the way, I'm going to try to use a little bit of wordsmithing here, synthesizing this so that we can all understand. The primary objective of this channel is, when you get off it, we should be having something that we can use right about immediately. We're trying to break down the things of like quantum physics, talking about the things of the soul, talking about cymatics, astrology, astronomy, eschatology, cosmology, cosmogony, biology, physical science. We're trying to make it in a very humorous, understandable way to show you that all these things can be achieved without even you leaving your couch or living wherever where you are. Hopefully you're not on the couch. You know, you need to be out and about, get yourself some vitamin D, sunbake a bit. So, narcissistic people are those, now I have two things that are happening in my head. Let me just try to do this. Narcissistic people are the people that are too much into their male-dominated side of doing things. So, empaths, on the other hand, are the people that are too much moist. The trick, balance. Remember, there was this other time, and I know that a lot of people love laughing at me, especially when I say this. You are both a narcissist and an empath. These things are personality traits. When it's convenient for you, you can put on the mask of either a narcissist or a mask of an empath. But mostly, people don't want to admit that at some point they have that element of narcissism. This is that if you go to the Jewish texts, the Judeo-Christian text, you will know that it is said that when a man was created, When I say men, you and I, women and males, when we were created, we were given that element of rascality in us. They called it the Yetzirah. In as much as you claim that you're good, you know that you have those, you know, deep parts of you. So that's where now your narcissistic behavior plays out. But it's not dominant. It's the same mistake that we're making, that when you hear people saying, I want to be right and brained, it doesn't mean that you're not left and brained. You are both. You are male and feminine. You are what we call androgynous. In Greek, it's called hermaphrodite. You have both sexes inculcated in you. Not necessarily in a sense of it protruding out energy-wise, the law of polarity, negative and positive. So don't be sitting there and thinking, oh, are you trying to say that I have both? Well, I'm talking about energy, the law of polarity. For you to exist, you have to have the left hand, the right hand, the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere, the positive, the negative, the water element and the fire elements. If you become too much empathetic, you tend to be too much prone to being abused because you are too much accepting. You are too much enabling. If you want to know more about this, I will say to you, check out 12 Life Principles by Jordan Peterson. I'll try to send it today. This guy, when he speaks about an empowered narcissist, you will love him. Oh, you will love him. When he speaks, you will love him. Because we find that a lot of people that have too much feminine energies tend to be taken advantage of. That's why they say one of the things when you are in an empath on a disempowered stance, start setting boundaries. You have to start using the words. You have to start using the words. Remember, the words are the faculties of the left brain, the male brain. You see what just happened there? If you too much of this, you have to introduce this. If you too much of this, you have to introduce this. Let me just say it by the way. Feminine energies are presented or represented as water, earth. Masculine energies are represented as fire and air. So if you are dry in your body, take some water. Meaning if you dry, you have too much fire. But if you have too much water in your body, some people tend to have what we call kidney problems. Because now the water that goes through your body cannot be properly filtrated. So when you have that, that's why you will get told that if you have swollen feet or if you have the inability of the body to flush out the water that is in you, you have to introduce vitamin D. Where do you get vitamin D? Sun exposure. What's the sun? Sun is fire. What is fire? You need to be dried out. Think. Now, the bestest way to heal yourself, well said, my brother, you have been denying that we've been... Yeah, Salwani, Kilabilo Minahani, and if you guys are here for the first time, Kia Leboa. I think now we're probably making our way to the 90 minutes. Hopefully we're going to finish. Let's see, who do we still have here? Hey, it was stuck. Got stuck for some time. So I just want to see who do we still have here, because we're talking about the energy. Oh, people are still here. Cool. More likes can attract viewers. He's still here. Hey, Zandy. Let's just see. Oh, hey, Kama, you're still here. Nice. Just had to change the position a bit because it was getting a bit sunny where I was. So, just wait for some people to come in through. By the way, guys, if you have a question, you can paste it on the comments, because I remember there was a study that I was once checked out that the way how we were brought up as well contributes a lot to our state of existence. People that grew up in a peaceful, loving, compassionate family structure tends to behave differently than people that grew up in a very hostile background. The reason being, people that grew up from a balanced background tends to be more accepting, tends to be much more giving, tends to be much more gracious and understanding. Mostly you'll find people like that, they tend to become empaths. And obviously empaths tend to be taken advantage by narcissists. And narcissists at some point tend to take advantage of empaths. But what I'm trying to show you, we're breaking the energy work behind those personalities down to show you that whichever personality that you're dealing with, you can be able to be empowered nonetheless. And it doesn't mean that when you are a narcissist, or if you're a narcissist, you're necessarily a bad person. Or when you're an empath, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good person. We all know that those personalities can change anytime they want to. By the way, personality, when you go to Hindu or when you go to, is it Latin? Personality means persona, meaning the mask that you put on. So your energy as it plays out, you show it to us with the mask that you have on at that time, at that day. When you are at work, you're not the same person when you're at home, or at least you shouldn't be. Because now those things, you have to change them so that you can be able to enjoy the company of the people that you have, or you can be able to be somebody that is livable with. Because we all know there are some of the people that still speak to you as if like they're still at work even when they're at home. So it's a bit of a mix-up. It's because the energy that is not properly calibrated does not only make you sick, but it can also make you psychologically unhealthy. Overthinkers, for an example. Now, with that said, I'll take it that the people are back. And if you're here for the first time, we're talking about the energies, the masculine and the feminine. If it's for the first time you hearing this, we've been building this thing now for the longest of time, because on this channel we speak about healing. And when I say healing, I don't only speak about it bodily. We are mind, body, soul. We all know that to heal your body, you have to eat greens, you have to eat veggies, you have to eat well. But if you're not eating well, your body becomes sick. The same thing works on our mental life, on our mind sphere. Too much negative thoughts, too much ruminating, too much hate, too much anger, too much stress. It's unhealthy food to your brain. Masculine energies tends to leave us high and dry. What are masculine energies? Fire, air. Feminine energies are water and earth. Too much of one energy in your life breaks you apart. All that we're going for, all of us, it's the balance. Now, unfortunately, it becomes a little bit tricky when it comes to on how to clean your mind, because a lot of issues that we have them in a form of trauma. To start with, if you want to bring balance of the masculine and feminine energies on your mental life, you have to start forgiving. Unforgiveness, it's being stuck. Forgiveness is fluid, accepting, letting go, compassionate, joyous, benefit of the doubt, such and such words. But unfortunately, we don't realize that if we hold on to a grudge, like what Nelson Mandela said about forgiveness, he said, unforgiveness is like drinking a poison and expecting someone else to die. Thank you, Nikita, for the gifts. And for everybody else that is here, thank you for the likes. We're going now to the second hour. The bar is on it, eh? I mean, I decided to myself, once that area opens, you know, the people that are in the conscious community will tell you, once that vortex opens, I'm going right in. So it's me right here now, battling this thing with the load shedding. Hi, Chrissy. Welcome to our second hour. So what I'm planning to do is, I'm planning to take the full thing and putting it on YouTube, because I want to cover what I've been missing since Monday. Because Monday it was a problem, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and because of the load shedding, obviously. And obviously we all know, on a daily basis, we normally cover around about like 2 or 3 hours. So I thought to myself, okay, fine, let me see how far I can go in curbing each and every single thing that we had to talk about this week, which is energy. We are sick bodily because the energies are not balanced in terms of hormones, in terms of our emotions. We are sick mentally because our energies are not balanced. We tend to suffer from overthinking. We tend to suffer from negativity. We tend to suffer from a whole lot amount of things. So what we're trying to do is here, in as much as we can clean our bodies doing the fast, we can also clean our minds doing the fast. Hey, Zandi, very, 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 very. For me, if I had a school right there by the gate, the number one rule is leave your grudges here. Because unforgiveness, it's clocking, it's siphoning, it's killing, it's trapping your energies, and energies that are trapped according to the law of thermodynamics short circuits the object. I mean, like now, if you have a toaster in your house and you plug it in by the wall, that is if you have the electricity. And for some reason the toaster can't give you the bread that you want. Are you going to start blaming, that is if you have the electricity obviously, are you going to start blaming the electricity or the toaster? Obviously the toaster is broken. What caused it to break? Energy that short-circuited. When you suffer from bodily constipation, you are too dry in your body. You have too much fiery elements. You're eating too much of yang foods, masculine foods, acidic food. That's why when you go to a doctor, especially when you struggle with constipation, they'll say to you, okay, fine, cool. It's either they're gonna do enema to you. You know, that thing of cleaning up your whole colon. If you didn't know, all the diseases that we're suffering from starts in the stomach. If you didn't know that, 80% of your immune system is in your stomach. So be careful of what you eat. If you're eating too much fiery food, too much spicy food, you tend to rob your body of the water. By the way, the water element is a feminine element, energy in you. So when the doctor says to you, it's either you're going to do the enema, or we're going to give you laxatives, or we're going to suggest that you have yourself some yogurt, you have some water, or fast. Fasting happens to be the cheapest, the most accessible, the most effective, no side effects, unless obviously if your body somehow has been knocked way out of balance, that when you fast, it tends to give you some uncomfortable sensations. Because I know it happens to a lot of people, especially if it's the first time that you do it. Fasting, by the way, it's not torture. Fasting is not depriving yourself food. Fasting, it's a bodily repairing exercise. Fasting has side benefits like weight loss, reducing brain fog, cleaning up your skin, elevating constipational issues that you might have. It also, by the way, as a side benefit, makes you sleep well. So something that you need to consider. So I checked it this morning as to how it happens. This is what they say. I was checking it out from this book here, the Big Book of Health. When you eat, your body has to use energy to break down the food that you just ate. They go in as far as saying if you're eating 10 calories, your body uses 5 calories to break down those 10 calories. So when you eat, you're actually eating at the equilibrium level. But now, it's more like you robbing yourself in a way. Not to say that people shouldn't eat. No, please. But what I want to try to show you is the moment when you stop eating, your body starts using the energy that you have. Instead of breaking down the food, your body uses the energy that you have to build up your body, to repair your cells, to repair the fluids that you have in your body. Cellular regenerative exercise, that is fasting. Fasting, there's a lot of things that you can do when it comes to your bodily fasting. Some people do it intermittent, that is skipping the breakfast, going for lunch, or skipping one meal, or cutting out the snacks. Some people go for days, some people go for hours. What's the whole point? Cleaning your body to balance the energies. But did you know that fasting as well applies on your mental life? This one is going to be a little bit tricky because, because when you study neuroscience, you'll be blasted out of your waters as to what your brain can do. One of the things that your brain does is to think. Thoughts. My career made me intermittent faster by force. And now how's the health? Some days I want to speak about fast, but I'm thinking, this is one of those experiences that you will not know it until you do it. It's just like the journey of spirituality. You walk the journey. Nobody has to guide you. Nobody has to say anything to you because the kingdom of God, after all, is within you. So fasting is pretty much like that, to say, you know what, do it and you'll come and tell us. If you got some complaints, deal with them because it takes time